No way, dude. No way, dude.
Let's try it without ears. Put a few, like just a couple rounds through that.
No way, dude. No way, dude.
Yeah. All right, this is stupid. All right, this is stupid. Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. This is going to be another First Impressions video. In today's First Impressions video, we are taking a look at the Tion Dragoon Mini QD Suppressor. This video sponsor is Parcel Safety. I have taken a look at a ton of different gas masks here on the channel. It's kind of a different hobby that I have here within the gun industry. I love the preparedness side of things, and Parcel Safety is one that I've been interested in for a while now. They offer a wide variety of masks, and what I think is interesting about Parcel is they have kind of everything from the beginner level of gas masks up to the more tactical full CBRN level gas masks, and really everything in between. They have masks like the ST100, which is a really good kind of looks like a respirator and not so much that tactical scary looking gas mask. So in certain preparedness situations that may definitely be a benefit to you. And then you also have the NB100 gas mask, which is a higher level mask that they offer that's going to be more on the tactical side of things. It's a really good, really comfortable mask from the experience that I've had with the NB100 so far. I really am enjoying it quite a bit. They are also offering you guys a 10% off discount code for watching this video. You can use the code FIREARMFREEDOM10 and that will save you 10% off of your order. Rarely am I blown away by a product to the point where I just feel the need to come home, make a video on that item that very night. And that's exactly what I am doing here with the Tion Dragoon Mini Suppressor. It's actually a company that's based here in my home state of Pennsylvania, and I've taken a look at a few of their suppressors now on the channel. Most recently, it was actually the Tion Dragoon full-size 30 cal suppressor. And you can see here, compared to the two, this thing is dwarfed by the full-size Dragoon. And the Dragoon had pretty much a raving review on the channel. The only kind of feedback that I had for the suppressor is, man, it is very, very long. I would love to have something just a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact, and that is where the Dragoon Mini came in. So this is essentially identical to the full-size Dragoon in how it operates. It is just going to be a much shortened size. Of course, full disclosure, what is my relationship with Tion? They were, at one point in time, a sponsor on the channel. Now, that sponsorship is completely over with at this point. Now, they did send me this suppressor to take a look at and give my honest opinions of it. I told Tion right out in the open, I said, hey, I am not a fan of K-cans. In fact, with rifle cans, I avoid K-cans like the plague. I cannot stand them. I don't find any purpose in them. And I know a lot of people are probably screaming in the comment section, "Hey man, I love my K-can. It's great. It does everything I want it to do." That's fine. But if I am paying money for a suppressor, I want it to reduce the noise. That's the only reason why I'm getting a can. Yeah, it's cool that it reduces flash signature a little bit. It's cool that it's just going to take the edge off. But for me, K-cans are not appealing because most of the time they essentially act like a glorified Noveski pig, and they're about as loud as that as well. So I've always avoided them. And when Tion reached out and said, "Hey, we have a mini QD can that we would love for you to take a look at on the channel," I told him, hold on a second, okay? I can gladly do that, but I can tell you it may not be the most positive review. They said, "Hey, look at it anyways. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your opinions on it compared to the full-size behemoth that the regular Dragoon is." This mini here is going to compete with most of the K-cans on the market. Guys, I don't know what black magic Tion is using with these suppressors, but my jaw literally dropped that very first 3 rounds that I shot through this suppressor for the noise testing that you would have seen in the very beginning of this video before the review. I have never heard anything like it for this size. It was so quiet that, dare I say, my favorite rifle suppressor that I've talked about a bunch on my channel, the Silencer Co. Omega, I have shot that can a ton. This suppressor, being about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches shorter than the Omega, somehow sounds quieter to the ear. I never thought that I would have a 5.56 K can and I would be shooting that on a rifle without hearing protection. I was shooting that on, at first, a mid-length 16-inch gun. Now, the mid-length 16-inch gun is my primary choice for a suppressed 5.56. That mid-length gas system is just absolutely phenomenal when it comes to port pop and other things. Those rifles, I shot easily 2 magazines of fast fire without the need for hearing protection. And that, for a K suppressor, is, it truly, no bias in there, blew me away. And then on top of that, I also threw it on a 10.5-inch carbine length gas system, and that is a rowdy gun. I had to do a little bit to the buffer weight. That thing is very overgassed, and I put this thing on there, and although it was slightly spicier, I was able to shoot 3 rounds with no ringing. Could I have shot more? Probably. I would imagine that I could have went through that whole magazine and there would have been a little bit of a discomfort, but I don't know that my ears would have been ringing. It's just I try to reserve as much of my hearing as humanly possible, and out of that right ear with the ejection port pop, it's going to sometimes be a problem. But I have heard firsthand many other K cans, and I'm telling you guys right now, if you put that can on a 10.5-inch gun, it is going to be loud. I have an AAC M4 2000, which is about 2 inches longer than this, maybe about 1.5 inches, and that's a 5.56 can. I ran that on a 10.5-inch gun. I lasted 1 round without hearing protection. My ears were ringing on both sides, and I had to throw hearing protection back on. Is it a bad suppressor for that? No, but it's just, again, another point trying to figure out how this small of a can was allowing me to shoot multiple rounds out of a 10.5-inch 5.56 without discomfort. I had the FF Pocket Gunsmith standing about 5 or 6 feet from me on the right-hand side, and when I dropped those first few rounds, I looked over, my jaws dropped, his jaws dropped, and we both really had nothing to say. We were just kind of shocked. Like the full-size Dragoon, this is also user serviceable, so you can run this suppressor on a 22 long rifle up to, in this case, a 22-250, and it will run everything that is in that 223 or 5.56 realm. Now, they also offer the Dragoon Mini Mini in a 7.62 variation as well. That 7.62 is about a half an inch, maybe an inch longer than the 5.56 variation, and that is another reason which prompted me out of box. You know, I picked this can up out of the box and I'm like, man, this is not going to be a good can. It is so small. There are not that many baffles in it. The baffles are like right about here and that's it. And I'm comparing it to like other cans and I'm like, this thing is way too small. It's going to sound horrible. And that's why I'm so overly hyped about it at this point in time, because it just, any expectation that I had for it, it blew it out of the water and then some. This being a little bit smaller is very, very handy on any rifle that you're going to be putting it on. And I do think it actually wouldn't be a bad idea if you wanted to run it on your rimfire as well. Because this is user serviceable, you absolutely could do that. Now, I typically am not one to run non-designated rimfire suppressors on my rimfire stuff because I just hate having to clean so much the rimfire crud out of all of my cans. So I generally keep that to my rimfire only cans, but you absolutely could do that with this Dragoon. And I will say that in something like the Tippmann that I have, the M422, that's a great little trainer. And if you wanted to have the same muzzle device on that as you do your full-size rifle and pop this can from gun to gun, you could absolutely do that for a training benefit as well. As far as the Tion mounting system for the Mini Dragoons, you do have a slightly different mount. If you're unfamiliar with Tion cans, they also make a 0 point of impact shift mounting system, which is ridiculous for rifle suppressors if you know anything about those types of items. But what you have here is an all titanium mount, and the only difference from the mini mounts compared to the full size is the fact that they're a little shorter because of just the overall blast chamber size in the mini. So if you have other Tion full-size rifle cans like the Dragoon or the Dragoon CQB, those mounts, if you have a 3-chambered break or flash hider, are not going to fit your mini. But your full-size can will fit the mini muzzle device, obviously. So there's a few different, options there. And right now I am running the mini single-port brake, which did very well just as a brake aside. How the mounting system works, the can pops on. It does not need to be timed in a specific direction. It can go on at any point that you have it. You want to make sure that your locking collar is fully over and open on the screw there. And you can pop that thing on, push down, rotate over, and it's on, and it's good to go. And again, very fast mounting system to break it free. You crank it over like that, push down, over, and out it goes. Another thing that we found very interesting about this can is the fact that because it is all titanium through and through, it cools incredibly quickly. And that's kind of the give and take with titanium. It is going to heat very quickly, but it also cools very quickly. We were shooting this all day long on all different barrel lengths, and after very fast shooting for a little over an hour, I let this thing sit down before I put it in my bag, and I actually set a timer up to see how quickly this would cool down to the touch so that I could take it off the rifle without gloves. Our timer hit about 12 minutes, and we were good to go. I was able to take this off without gloves. It was slightly warm. The full auto rating on the Dragoon suppressors is essentially a limited full auto rating. At a 16-inch barrel, you're going to get about 60 rounds in just all-out full auto mag dumping before you got to let the suppressor cool. At an 11-inch barrel, you're getting 45 rounds before you got to let it cool, and 10-inch or below, you're at 30 rounds of full auto mag dumping before you got to let it cool. And I can tell you that from a non-full auto perspective, just simply running the suppressor at the range, drills, what have you, I did not have to change my firing sequence whatsoever with this can. Any other steel suppressor that I own, I shoot it pretty hard at the range, and I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna act like this is any different. And I shot this in the exact same way, and sure enough, it did just fine. It barely even hit the Cerakote on this thing, and there were no concerns whatsoever that I had with the durability of the suppressor at any point during the range day. We have to talk about price when we're talking about titanium suppressors. The MSRP on this guy comes in at about $12.65. I know a lot of people are going to immediately compare that price to a steel suppressor. That's exactly what I did when I first started breaking them out of the box. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can get a steel can at about half that price. And in this case, if you take that mindset and you compare this titanium suppressor with other titanium cans that are on the market, this is actually one of the lower price points that you're going to see. So when I'm comparing titanium prices, this is not bad at all. It's actually really, really good. Now, again, there is no way to compare this to a steel suppressor when it comes to price point. As far as standard takedown of the suppressor, it's pretty cool because you can use standard ratchets up here on the front. It is really cool to put a 1/2-inch socket driver in there and be able to take it apart. I don't need any fancy, weird suppressor tools that are proprietary to the can to get it apart. Just whatever you can find at the hardware store is going to work out really well for that. And inside the box, you'll actually have a dowel rod, so get out baffles if they are stuck. This is a great way to do it without ruining anything with a big steel punch or anything like that. And then you got this guy to be able to attach to a drill for cleaning and maintenance, and you got your spare pieces there. So they include a good bit in the box as well. And you're also going to get one muzzle device along with your Dragoon in the packaging or on the outside. It depends on wherever you're buying it from and how they display it. But in this case, I am thoroughly impressed with this can, and I know because they were a sponsor previously on the channel, a lot of folks may think, hey, this guy's being biased. You can ask anybody at this shop that I work at. We are all feeling the exact same thing about these suppressors. We have been thoroughly impressed with the performance that these cans are giving. I've never, ever heard a suppressor this small on a rifle sound the way that it does. If you guys have any other questions about this can or anything else on the channel, please let me know down below in the comment section, and you guys know I absolutely will get back to you. While you're down there, head up to that description, check out those ways to support the channel, and as always, stay tuned for more great videos coming soon.